Do you know of a place where sailors hang out?
I can't tell you where sailors hang out, but I can tell you where PC games hang out. The Epic Store. Just the Epic Store. Yes, as Epic continues in its worrying quest to become a de facto monopoly in the PC distribution market, another game has gone Epic Game Store exclusive, and this one has been a real kick in the anus for a fair few people. It's Shenmue 3. Besides Shenmue being the worst game ever made... Shenmue is a very popular game series, and people were looking forward to Shenmue 3. It's a sequel people didn't expect until one year at a Sony press conference they said, "Hey folks, Shenmue 3, that's happening." Jesus Christ, it was 2015 that they announced it. Anyway, they came out and they said it's happening. They said it's happening, and also, can you give us some money so it can happen, please? We need a Kickstarter for it. And then they got the Kickstarter money for it, and then they said, oh, well, we've got a publisher as well. But it seems not even that was enough money for them. They've taken the Kickstarter money, they got publisher backing. Oh yeah, Sony provided further funding, I forgot about that almost. And now they've taken a huge wad of cash to go Epic Store exclusive. Or rather, certainly Deep Silver has, because they were the publisher. Incidentally, they were also the publisher of Metro Exodus, which pulled the rug out from under people about a month before release. Though to Deep Silver's minimal credit, they did honour the pre-orders on Steam that people had already made. The news broke during a rather underwhelming E3 this year. They broke it at the PC Gaming Show. Developer EastNet spun, what has become a rather usual line of bullshit from developers that take the money from Epic. They tried to spin it as some sort of benefit to the end user. They said, "Development for Shenmue 3 has been moving forward using Unreal Engine, and the support we have received from Epic has been excellent. Most importantly, in looking for the most enjoyable experience on PC, it was decided together with Deep Silver, after much discussion, that the Epic Game Store would be the best distribution platform option." Really, folks? That's the route you're taking this, is it? That's the line you've decided to spin. That it's the most enjoyable option. The storefront that's missing a whole bunch of features, the launcher that's missing a whole bunch of features. That, in your mind, is the most enjoyable way to play it on PC. Is it? Really? Really now? Just say you wanted the money. Just fucking admit it. That annoys me more than anything else. If you must go Epic Store exclusive, okay, people will get over it, or they won't, whatever. Just bite the bullet, do what thou must, but do not chat shit. Do not blow smoke up people's arses. Do not be so cowardly as to refuse to admit you just liked the idea of an extra fat payday. It's not like it's a secret. It's not like Epic's trying to hide the fact that it's been throwing its 10-cent wads around. I would have so much more respect for these studios if they just said what we knew was going on. They wanted money. Just admit it. Now, the only additional leeway Shenmue 3 can get for itself is that on its Kickstarter page, it never explicitly upfront said at the time of the Kickstarter that it was definitely going to be on Steam, at least according to my recollection. But it did have a Steam store page. It's still got one now, although the dates just say coming soon. And who knows how soon will be now that they've got this presumably timed exclusive deal. And when backers were selecting the digital copy of the game they wanted, Steam was in the drop-down list of options. Plus, this game was crowdfunded almost half a decade ago. It was a very different world back then. It was just assumed back then that this game would be on Steam because, well, why wouldn't it? It was a very different world back then. There was no assumption this would ever happen. No one could have foreseen that there'd be a fucking exclusivity war on the PC platform itself. Anyone who's already put their money into this game and were interested in looking for a refund, that's been shot down. EastNet is not reportedly offering refunds for anyone who feels burned. They admitted that the game was planned for release on Steam, but the plan has changed and you will need the Epic Games client to access the game on PC. It's worth pointing out at this time, it's worth reminding people that when you back a game on Kickstarter or another crowdfunding website, you are not supposed to be pre-ordering the game, although plenty of studios have muddied the water by treating it as exactly that. You're not ordering the game, you are basically investing in it, and your payout for said investment is the simple existence of the game, really. And even then, circumstances can always change, you're not even guaranteed that. It's always a risk, it's always something you have to calculate. It's something that always has the potential to disappoint. And I don't say that to justify anything, I say that to just remind people. It's a warning that someone should always take heed of before they back anything. In any case, people who have backed the game on Kickstarter are fucking annoyed. They are not happy about this news whatsoever, and who could have foreseen that? Who could have predicted that people would be very pissed off to learn that Shenmue 3, a game they crowdfunded, is the latest game to take that huge, bulging sack full of juicy, epic money. In referring to developer Yu Suzuki, commenter Jux said, "Wow, Yu sold his dignity twice, Deep Silver and Epic Store. Shenmue must be indeed very close to his heart." Owen Sayers said, "Making game store exclusives is abhorrent but understandable. Changing store availability in bad faith, literally last week you were still updating the Steam store page, should be grounds for litigation." A big comment from Zombait here says, "I've seen this kind of behaviour from other developers who've kickstarted games. As soon as they get in bed with a publisher, the publisher takes precedent over backers, so we're not even thought about whilst important decisions are being made. Deep Silver have taken over and it shows. I'm starting to think Shenmue has just become a vacuum to suck up cash from any and everyone who has it without delivering on their promises. Surprising behaviour from a Japanese company. You've now got Deep Silver signing agreements with Epic for truckloads of cash, no doubt. They've thrown PC games under the bus." Now, I want to talk about that because that's an important thing. This is where the perception of Kickstarter is screwing not just individual games over, but the idea of crowdfunding, because when you take money for a Kickstarter project saying, you know, we need this amount of money to make this game, and then you get in bed with a publisher, you automatically make your Kickstarter look a little less sincere. Now, don't get me wrong, unforeseen circumstances happen, projects can get more ambitious. I mean, that's certainly a problem developers can have, where they get some money, think, right, more money means we can do more, and then they realise, oh wait, we've done too much, now we need even more money. A common tactic on Kickstarter is to lowball the amount you want in the hopes that people won't be put off if you ask for a huge wad of money. There are many different reasons why a crowdfunded game might seek additional help from a publisher, but with certain games that can be a bad look. Shenmue is one such game. I mean, why was Shenmue 3 crowdfunded in the first place? Because its publisher had no interest in making another one. The Shenmue games never sold all that great. It never looked like the AAA game industry would give people another Shenmue, so Yu Suzuki et al. Went directly to the public. And then, once they made a bunch of money, then a publisher took interest, which just looked cynical all round. And let's not forget exactly how high the initial Kickstarter goal was. Right out of the gate, EastNet wanted $2 million, and in the end they've gotten over $6 million. All of that money, and then they still got into bed with a publisher, and after making all of that money, after getting into bed with a publisher, now they get even more for themselves by taking the Epic deal. As overdramatic as it might be, I kinda don't blame anyone who views this through the cynical lens of a game designed to suck up as much cash as possible. Oh, sorry, I missed that. It wasn't over 6 million. Across multiple avenues, they've raised over 7 million. And if that on its own isn't enough to make a game that, let's face it, is gonna be nowhere near as good as the average Yakuza game, I don't know what is. But more than that, I'm concerned about crowdfunding for PC games going forward, because if you're someone who does care about where a game is distributed on PC, and there are still lots of people who do, just look at those furious comments on the Kickstarter page, what are you being taught here? People are being trained to expect any PC game they back on a crowdfunding platform to go Epic exclusive, and that is a bad fucking thing to train your customers, your potential backers, to expect. Crowdfunded games trade on trust. You're supposed to trust that whoever's making the game you're backing has your best interests at heart and deliver on their promises. Shenmue 3 comes off the back of some other high-profile controversies surrounding crowdfunded games taking the exclusivity deal. We've had Phoenix Point, we've had Outer Wilds. So going forward, people are going to be naturally less trusting of crowdfunded games. So well done to those crowdfunded games that have taken the Epic deal. They've poisoned the water for everyone else going forward. The only saving grace here is potential crowdfunded developers can employ what I call the corn syrup effect. We saw this at the Square Enix show when they got themselves a really easy round of applause for saying loot boxes wouldn't be in the Avengers game. I call it the corn syrup effect because despite the ubiquity of corn syrup in a lot of foods, especially in America, there are products that come out advertising themselves as corn syrup free to make easy cash off the back of the fact that everyone knows that stuff is poison. Something that's really popular and is making money can nonetheless be spun in another company's favour by saying we won't do that. So, some companies can say, well, we're never going Epic exclusive, and that will probably be some very good promotion for them. We're already seeing that in a few corners. But for any developer that doesn't want to make a big song and dance about such an idea, well, they're going to have a harder time getting backing on Kickstarter and other crowdfunding platforms now, aren't they? Because the efforts of some of these other developers have ensured that there's just a little bit less trust going around. And in a medium where trust is how these games are making their money, well, like I said, the water's been poisoned for everyone. So yeah, these companies aren't just potentially fucking over their own backers, they're fucking over crowdfunding overall. I'll be interested to see going forward if we ever witness a crowdfunding game that upfront says they're going Epic exclusive or they're seeking an exclusivity deal. I'd really like to see how well that Kickstarter does. In any case, the developers of Phoenix Point, of Outer Wilds, of now Shenmue 3 have, in their own way, however small, fucked over other crowdfunded games going forward. So I hope the money was worth it.